the A, the E, and the D shapes that only have 1/3. And we're going to get rid of those thirds now, guys, because we don't want the emotion. We want this very ambiguous foundation sound. Because the beautiful thing about power chords is we can play major and minor tonalities on them as long as they're in the correct order. I will say with this C shape that we can move things around a little bit with this. And personally, what I like to do when I'm getting rid of the third on this one, I'm just going to write this out. We could play the fifth here. I'm going to put the fifth in here. This is what a power chord is. Let's just do these as caged power chords. And the ingredients that we have, remember, before we had 3 ingredients for these major chords. Now for power chords, we have 2 ingredients. We have a root and a fifth. Yeah, that's all we're using. Well, how can we utilize this shape? I've got to get rid of this third here. So I substitute it for that fifth there. Now, I can keep the root in here. Personally, and you'll hear it when I play it for you, I like to add this note here. I know I've said root and fifth, but it isn't strictly. So we're just going to put an artistic license thing there, right? We'll just say that. Artistic license, right? So we'll put then a little asterisk on the C chord here. I'll put that underneath there as well. We could take that caged octave. We could play it like that. And then if we think about it, we've got another fifth here. But we end up muting the D string there. And I'll show you how your hands work around this. But what I like to do, and it still works, and it still sounds great, is I like to put this 2 in here instead. Yeah, I'll put it in brackets so we're not committing to it, right? So what we get then is kind of a C sus2. Suspensions are very ambiguous as well, so that's why they're cool to mix with power chords, but I like to play that there. I won't do that with any of the others. So apart from that there, this would be a C5 power chord if you omitted that note there. This is a bit of a weird way around it, I find, because that's your index finger, that's your pinky, and that's going to be a root note with your ring finger. So it's a bit of a stretch. And in fact, you can see that the shape of the power chord is in those 2 strings there. But that's going to sound weak and puny, and we don't want weak and puny power chords. We want magnificent, epic Viking storm in a castle like power chords. So we're going to get an A5 next. This is a little bit easier because we've only got 1/3 to remove. So get rid of the E. We're going to have this root note open here. We're going to have the fifth here. Now we can stop here, and let me just explain this. We can stop here with this. That's still a power chord, but we want to maximize the shape to get as much sound out of it as we possibly can if we want to, okay? So we can utilize this root note here as well. We'll play that with 1 finger going across there. And then what we do is we kill those 2 strings there. We don't play those 2 strings, okay? We could play it like that, or we could play it like that with 1 finger. If we add that third, we're committing to major tonality. Whereas with that third missing there now, you can hopefully see that means we have got everything we need. Now, I'm going to go from this G shape here, and I'm going to lean on that Oasis G again. We're going to actually adopt that fifth there, that root there. We're going to take that root over here, and we're going to get a G5 power chord. To get rid of the third, what I do is I mute out the A string, and then that gives me a fifth here. And then I get another root here on the G string. Now what's cool about this is you can see I've got a root and a fifth, so that's 1 power chord. I get a root and a fifth, that's another power chord, and then I get another root. So this is going to be sounding like, this is a huge, massive sounding power chord is this one, guys. Next one we're going to do, E shape. So if you look at the A shape here, guys, root, and I kind of think it goes up like how a knight moves in chess. It goes up 2 over 1 to get to your shape. You'll notice that the A, E and the D shapes do this, guys. So go up 2 over 1, and that's where your 5R3 starts. Up 2 over 1, that's where 5R3 starts. On this D shape, up 2 over 1, that's where your 5R3 starts. So it's always going to have that same thing going on there. So E5, I love the E5. It's a big, massive sounding power chord. So we've got a root note here, 1, 2, 3, and then we've got the fifth here. So look, does it make sense when I say how the knight in chess moves? It goes up 2 over 1. If you play chess, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you'll be like, Ricky, what are you on about, mate? There might be something in that T after all. Root fifth. We're going to take that root there. We're going to omit that string. We're going to mute that G string out there, guys. Now we can Play that like that, but I'll put it in brackets here. We could include this fifth here, and we could include this root here, and I'll play that for you, and you can hear the difference texturally to see what's going on there. I'm firing through these guys because I want to make sure that we get into playing this. There's a lot to go through today. On the D5, we're going to have that root note. We're going to have the fifth and the root. We're not going to play the third. We're going to omit that thin E string. So we've got a root, we've got a fifth, we've got a root there, and I'm going to knock off that E string there. That's the simplest way to look at it. And I'll play these side by side so you can hear them.